Something is happening in your life that you can't fully explain, but you definitely can't ignore. You find yourself being directed toward the same person over and over again in ways that seem to go beyond coincidence. And maybe you've wondered if this is just your imagination or if God is really trying to show you something important. A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Proverbs 16:9. When God wants to direct your steps towards someone specific, He doesn't just give you one sign and walk away. He creates a pattern so clear, so consistent, that eventually you have to ask yourself, am I really going to keep pretending this isn't happening? If you clicked on this video, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. That gentle but persistent pull towards someone who seems to show up in your thoughts more frequently than makes logical sense. Someone who appears in your prayers even when you started praying about something completely different. Someone whose well-being has become important to your heart, even when you're not sure why. This isn't obsession. Obsession is chaotic and draining. This brings peace, even when it's confusing. This isn't wishful thinking. Wishful thinking comes and goes. This feels constant, like a quiet knowing in your spirit that refuses to be silenced by your rational mind. You've probably already tried to get rid of this feeling, haven't you? Threw yourself into work, focused on other relationships, maybe even moved cities hoping that distance would give you clarity. But no matter what you do, this sense of connection remains. It's like trying to ignore your own heartbeat. You can distract yourself, but it's always there, steady and undeniable. And then there are the external confirmations that make you wonder if the universe is conspiring to get your attention. You turn on the radio, and that song plays that perfectly captures what you've been feeling. You open a book to a random page, and the first sentence seems written specifically for your situation. You're driving with no particular destination and somehow find yourself on the street where she works. These aren't just coincidences piling up. This is what it looks like when God wants to get your attention about someone He has in mind for your future. He doesn't just speak once hoping you'll get it. He speaks through circumstances, through other people, through those moments of divine timing that are too specific to be accidental. Maybe you've noticed how friends who don't even know what you're going through have started mentioning this person in casual conversations. How family members make comments that seem random but hit right at the heart of what you've been wondering. How opportunities keep arising for you to be in the same place at the same time. It's as if God is orchestrating a beautiful symphony, and every person around you is playing their part without even realizing it. Every conversation, every coincidence, every moment of connection is another note in a song that's been playing in your heart longer than you'd like to admit. Here's what I've learned about how God works when He wants to bring two people together. He doesn't force, but He definitely facilitates. He creates opportunities. He softens hearts. He opens doors that seemed permanently closed. And He does it all with such grace that when you look back, you'll see His fingerprints on every step of the journey. You know what's the most beautiful part of this process? When you stop fighting what's happening and start paying attention to what God might be teaching you through it. When you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this preparing me for? Because here's the truth. God doesn't waste experiences. If He's consistently directing your attention to someone, it's not just about that person, it's about who you're becoming in the process. Maybe He's teaching you to trust His timing. Maybe He's showing you what it's like to have faith for something you can't control. Maybe He's preparing your heart to love in ways you never thought possible. The story of Hannah comes to mind. She prayed for years for something that seemed impossible. A child. Year after year, she poured out her heart before God, even when circumstances seemed to say He wasn't listening. But God was preparing not just the answer, but her heart to receive what He had planned. When Samuel finally came, Hannah was ready to be the mother God needed her to be. Or think about how God prepared Joseph through years of hardship. The prison, the interpreted dreams, the injustices. All so that when he stood before Pharaoh, he was ready for the moment that would change not just his life, but the destiny of entire nations. What looked like delay was actually divine preparation. When God has a plan for your love life, He doesn't play hide and seek with the details. He confirms through circumstances, through peace in your spirit, through the way thinking about this person doesn't make you anxious, but actually makes you feel more like yourself. That's one of the clearest ways to tell the difference between a God-given connection and something you're manufacturing in your own mind. A God-given connection brings peace, even in uncertainty. It makes you want to become a better version of yourself. It's like coming home to a part of your heart you didn't even know was waiting. So what do you do with all this? How do you respond when you recognize that God might be showing you someone important for your future? First, be honest with yourself about what you've been experiencing. Stop minimizing or trying to explain everything away. If God is speaking, the least you can do is listen with an open heart. Second, pray about it. But pray differently than you have been. Instead of asking God to make this go away or give you more signs, ask Him to prepare your heart for whatever He has planned. Ask Him to help you become the person who would be ready for the love He wants to give you. Speaking of preparing your heart to receive what God has planned, I've realized something that completely changed my understanding of this journey of waiting and divine signs. For years, I've helped people who were going through exactly what you're experiencing right now. That persistent sense of connection, those signs they couldn't ignore, that heart preparation God seems to be orchestrating. And I discovered there's a profound difference between those who can navigate this season with peace and those who get lost in anxiety and doubt. The difference isn't in the intensity of signs they receive, but in how emotionally prepared they are to receive the love God is preparing. That's why I created a special gift that has exactly this at its heart: how to attract and recognize true love. A complete guide that helps you heal wounds from the past that might be blocking your ability to receive the love God wants to give you and develop the self-love that is the foundation for any healthy and lasting connection. This resource is available in the first pinned comment, and if it's for you, you'll know. But here's what I really want you to understand about this process of becoming emotionally ready. It's not just about personal development for its own sake. There's actually a spiritual principle at work here that most people completely miss. And once you see it, everything about God's timing will make perfect sense. Third, work on yourself intentionally. If God is preparing someone for your future, make sure you're becoming someone worthy of the gift He wants to give you. Invest in your emotional health, spiritual growth, character development. Become the person who would be a blessing to receive. Fourth, practice patience with God's timing. His timeline is always perfect, even when it doesn't match yours. He knows exactly when both hearts will be ready for what He's planned. Rushing the process never improved God's results. And finally, choose to live with expectant faith instead of anxious worry. There's a big difference between someone who's waiting with hope and someone who's waiting with fear. Hope prepares. Hope trusts. Hope believes the best is yet to come. You know what I love most about God's love stories? They're never just about two people falling in love. They're about two people becoming who they were created to be, and then discovering that who they were created to be fits perfectly together. If God is consistently bringing someone to your attention, it's not just about whether this person is the one. It's about who you're becoming, while waiting for His timing to unfold. It's about learning to trust Him with the most tender parts of your heart. It's about discovering that His plans for your happiness are bigger and better than anything you could have planned for yourself. Maybe you're afraid that if you stop fighting this connection, you'll get hurt again. Maybe you've worried that if you allow yourself to hope, you'll be disappointed. But what if the opposite is true? What if God has been gently persistent because He knows what He's planned for you is worth every moment of uncertainty you've walked through? Faith isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing to trust God's goodness even when you can't see the full picture. It's believing that the God who created you for relationship knows exactly what kind of love will make you flourish. So instead of asking, "What if this doesn't work out?" try asking, "What if God knows exactly what He's doing?" Instead of focusing on all the ways it could go wrong, consider all the ways God has already shown up in this situation. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to know exactly how everything will unfold. You just need to be willing to trust that the God who has been so persistent in getting your attention about this person has a plan that's worth your faith. The same God who directed your steps is totally capable of directing hers too. The same God who placed this person in your heart is totally capable of placing you in her heart. The same God who has orchestrated all these moments of connection knows exactly how to bring you together in His perfect timing. And here's something that could completely transform your perspective on this season of waiting. God is using every moment of uncertainty to strengthen spiritual muscles you didn't even know you had. Every time you choose trust when you don't understand, you're developing a capacity for faith that will be essential in the relationship that's coming. Every time you choose peace instead of anxiety, you're training your heart to rest in God's goodness, even when circumstances don't make sense yet. Think about it. If God gave you everything immediately, without this period of preparation, would you be ready to protect, cherish, and multiply what He wants to give you? Or could you end up sabotaging the very blessing by not having developed the emotional and spiritual maturity necessary? It's like an athlete preparing for the Olympics. The years of training aren't punishment, they're empowerment. Every exercise, every repetition, every moment of discipline is building the strength necessary for the performance that will change their entire life. In the same way, this season isn't divine punishment. It's divine preparation. And here's one more thing I want you to consider. While you're being prepared, so is she. If God really has a plan for you too, He's working simultaneously on both hearts, preparing you to meet at the right level of maturity, at the right timing, with the right capacity to love each other well. Maybe she's also going through her own journey of growth. Maybe she's also learning lessons that will be fundamental to the relationship you'll have. Maybe God is healing wounds in her heart that could interfere with her ability to receive and return the love you have to offer. This means every day you wait isn't a lost day. It's an invested day. It's a day where both you and she are becoming more mature, more healed, more prepared versions of yourselves. And when you finally meet, it will be at the right level of readiness to build something that will last. Stop fighting what might be the most beautiful thing God wants to do in your life. Start preparing for it. Start believing you're worthy of the love He wants to give you. Start trusting that His timing is always perfect, even when it's not fast. Because the truth is, some things are worth waiting for.